Hello and welcome. It's Monday. And you know what that means. We're gonna be upset and enraged in a positive direction. Yep, despair. It's all there, but we're willing it away because we're gonna just play Mario Party and kill all our friends. And it'll just make it like it's not there. You know, classic Monday activity. Typical Monday. So that's gonna be today. That's gonna be today. I got a jump scare in the group chat. False alarm, but May said in the group chat. So it's 2:21 p.m. Eastern right now, which means it's 1:20 p.m. CST, right? Central. May goes in the group chat that Zen made because Zen DM'd me for date and time. And I said, yeah, and then made the group chat, right? So in the group chat, we hadn't discussed time. I just figured everyone was, everyone's down for what I was told, which Zen was like, yo, 2 Central, which is my 3 p.m. I was like, hell yeah. Sounds good to me. I'll start at my 2. So, or like somewhere around there. And then by my 3, boom, we're in game. Sounds good to me. Awesome, right? We get into the group chat, and earlier today, May's like, yeah, we're doing 1 Central, right? And I was like, hold on. I said, now it's not the biggest deal, but there ain't much time, and I like to have a little time to, like, yap before we game. I like to have a little something, you know? I was like, hold on. No big deal if I need to move something up, but I was in the middle of a meeting. So I was like, whoa. And then Zen's like, I was like, I thought this was at 2 Central. And then Zen's like, yeah, it's at 2 p.m. I don't know why May said 12. And I'm like, what do you... No one said 12. I was like, dude. I don't know why it made me laugh so much. She could have just fat fingered. Could have been just like typing 1 and fat fingered the 2, but it was just so funny for me to think it's 2. May goes, it's 1, right? And then Zen goes, yes, it's 1. I don't know why May said 12. I was just like, okay, all right. That shit got me. That was funny as fuck. This shit kind of loud. Okay, turn it down a little bit. Pokopia. This video's name is in Korean. But the 2 of them just doing that shit was funny. And I was like, okay, so 2 hours from now, right? Because this was that one that we were typing this. And Zen was like, yeah. Zen goes, oop, well, she's fine. And then May says, this motherfucker saying 1 p.m. CT, I'm on to you. So what, she's fine. What does this mean? I don't know. Either way, me and May are down. I think Fruit's alive. I don't know. We pinged Fruit. She hasn't said a damn thing. So she could be dead. I don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I would really love her to be alive. That'd be great. She was sick recently, I know, yeah. But she's been streaming as well. But you know, this group chat was made yesterday. And Fruit was like, oh, I didn't figure out how to set up my Switch yet. And Zen was like, oh, it's super easy. Because I think Fruit just got a Switch 2 or a Switch or something. So she doesn't even like, I don't think she has the Nintendo account on it as of yesterday, you know. So, all of this is to say, we're slated to start at my 3 p.m. I don't know if we will. I don't know if we will. see what happens is what I'm saying. Either way, I made sure I was live well before 3 p.m. So if at 3 p.m. everyone is good, I'm good, you know? And if not, hey, we're just here, you know? Did say she didn't know where Couch Carb was? Yeah, I mean, if she's not streaming it, then it should be fine. Because it's all the same POV anyway. It's one of those games where you don't need, like, all 4 POVs. Because the POVs are exactly the same on what you see. So even one person streaming it is fine. It's nice to have, like, 2, but, you know. But, yeah. There are programs where you can enter a time in your time zone and it'll convert to a text blur for their time zone as well. Yeah, it uses Unix codes. Here's the thing. You don't even need that. In Discord, you can type @time, @time, and then a time. It'll even have a special box when you do that. And you type something in your time, and then it'll come up with some shit, and you click it, and it'll display in a time code for people. So anyone not using that, I am legally allowed to call a big doofus. A big old doofus. It's too advanced for streamers? No. Let's not equate this to like intelligence or capability. You know? Because anyone can do it. They don't wanna. They don't wanna. People don't like change. And people don't want to do what they don't want to do. They don't wanna. And you know what I've noticed? This is my new strat. Actually, it's not really a new strat, but this is a strat I've been using on streamer friends. If they don't go out of their way to do something, then I say, oh, then you don't want to. And they go, no, I do want to. And I go, no, you don't. If you did, you'd do it. And then they're like, but I do want to. And I'm like, well, you don't. Because you're not doing it. And then that forces them to either do it, to be like proving that they do want it, or to be like, okay, I don't actually want this that much. Or not more than other thing that I do, right? You know? That's the... I've always done that in the workplace. In the past, and I didn't really carry that forward into using that on streamers too much, because I was like, just a lot easier on them. But I think the past year or so, I've just been like... I've just been doing that shit. You've been reading too many self-help books with those kind of lines? No, man, you know, you want to know the truth? I've never read a self-help book in my life. And I'm sure some of you have read some and been like, this one's got some good stuff in it. I think they are a scam, but I am me. Yeah, I think they're dog shit. There might be some people that do glean some things from them. And my guess is that all has to do with your upbringing and what environment you're in. Because if you had an all right upbringing, not that like your parents are perfect, but you know what I mean? You're in environments where you had some people around you that would say this kind of stuff. You would have heard this stuff already, right? So I'm sure it's useful for some people that maybe just environmentally like never got to hear some of these things. But I feel like most people kind of did. It's just some that would really need it, right? Yet they sell this like everyone needs this book, like this self-help book is going to change everybody. But I feel like no. But also hard for me to judge completely because I've never read one. I've read little excerpts from them. Like you're in a bookstore and you pick it up and you read the blurb and you know, like flip to a page and start reading for a sec to see what it's like. And they've always felt like bullshit to me. And I don't know. How to be happy. You know what the real scam is, dude? It's all these books telling you how to be happy, how to do this, you know, help yourself, blah, blah, blah. And people reach for it to buy it. But really, the thing that they need to do is to learn to be introspective and find those answers in themselves. They need someone to tell them, no outreach is going to help you on this. asking others for advice or looking to a book to tell you what to do. You need to be introspective. And what they need is like basically what Buddhism teaches you, you know, just maybe in a less specifically religious format. Or they could use it. The teachings are the same. They just need to meditate and learn how to be with themselves in their head, you know? Yeah, therapy does that. Therapy does that. They sit you down and they make you tell them how you feel about things and verbalize stuff and put it together and confront yourself. And then they teach you how to kind of do that like throughout the day instead of just having them do it for you. And that's it. I don't know. I don't know, man. Is there a key book or text for Buddhism like the Bible, drawing a blank? There's a bunch of texts. There's so many things written by so many people in the past, monks and all that. I think there's the like Buddha's teachings are in a few different things. There are a bunch of like sutras, for example. And some of those are claimed to be directly from the Buddha himself. Some are like claimed by people that were close to him, monks that were close to him, or people that were right under him. It depends. There are three major schools of Buddhism. That's true. It depends on like where you are, who you're talking to. Because Buddhism in you know, Eastern China versus like Tibet, it's all going to be different. The themes are similar, but yeah. Yeah, and they're different teachers. I find a lot of people will like have one specific teacher and they are taught that guy's school of thought, basically, with excerpts from others as well. There's a lot of them, though. There's a lot of them. But a lot of like the old shit, it comes from I think the old stuff was written in Sanskrit, right? And then or some of it, and then translated out. So it's like very old and has been pulled apart by different languages, you know, and different things have branched out a lot. But yeah, it's interesting. I think you know, like I'm not a follower of any specific religion. The old stuff is in Pali. Ah, okay. I'm not a specific follower of anything, but I love reading religious or like spiritual, I guess you'll say, because Buddhism feels more spiritual, quote unquote, rather than just like a specific religion. But I like reading those types of texts from all of them. I find them really interesting. I think it actually helps you understand a lot about a modern culture, being like, oh, you know, this is what a lot of the people were raised on, you know, a long time ago, what their parents and grandparents were raised on, and then that kind of affects maybe modern work culture in some areas, things like that. And it's cool. It's cool. It's just, some of them are just good reads. They're just interesting. Even if you're not down with like, you know, you don't believe in what they're saying necessarily, they're still interesting to read. Same way you can go and read like, you know, Norse mythology or something, you know. I always think that stuff is just fun. You get blends like Japan balancing Shinto and Buddhism. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like the region affects it heavily, right? So my first therapy session was my therapist telling me to tell myself I'm a good person. Literally felt happy for the first time in years after that first season. Other seasons helped me confront my pain, see the truth of it. Yeah. That's what it is. It's like proper introspection, usually in therapy. And I do find that anything that I've read that's been related to Buddhism and some to Confucianism as well. It's very much about introspection and how to look at yourself, how to look at the world in a way to achieve happiness. And I do think, you know, some of these monk texts are like super extreme because they're like, you don't need anything. Don't eat any meat. You know, like they put shit in there where I'm like, yeah, in modern day, we don't need all that. But a lot of the introspective stuff and how to sit there and just think, some of it is not really going to mean much to you, and other things actually could be helpful. So, you know, genuinely, like if you don't have access to enough funds to go to therapy, I would go and just read through teachings from various religions that are less zealous religious about deities and more Buddhism, Confucianism, Shinto, that type of stuff, typically East Asian. And just kind of like read through some of it and see if there's anything that makes sense to you that you can apply. You know? It genuinely can help. There's other literature that can help, but that will help you so much more than a fucking modern self-help book that's literally written to just make you grab it because the cover grabs desperate people, you know? Taoism's a cool one. Probably my favorite to sit there and read through a lot of text from. Yeah. Claude summarized Taoism. Claude, teach me Taoist ways of thought. Please, I need guidance. Please, Claude. I find a lot of my mom would always joke and she'd be like, you know, the way you live life is very Taoist. She'd always be like, this is my Taoist / Buddhist child. Not because I was taught this stuff when young or anything like that, but just like, I was just like, hey man, that's just the way world is. You just gotta flow with it. you just gotta be. And she always laugh because she was always very into reading all sorts of different things from all sorts of different religions. And she herself was always Catholic, you know, but read through everything and found it interesting. So because I was very like chill and just like, well, if the world is this way, we just gotta work with it, man. You know, she started like handing me stuff to read and was like, you should check this out. But I love that Taoism is just like, this is the way, man. This is the way. I'm not into the some of the mysticism around yin and yang specifically, because some of it is like a level of mysticism that I'm like, yeah, that you're writing magic on the page, and I don't, you know, we're not doing magic here. But I do, some of the principles are also pretty cool when they're just talking about like balance within your own thoughts. Yeah, you know, you can apply that stuff in a way that makes sense and is not like crazy. Yeah, some of it is kind of like sorcery though, the way they talk about some of it, where I'm like, They got the what do they call it? The non-action, where basically like life and the world has a lot of natural flow to it, and you should act in alignment with it and not try to force against it. Otherwise, you're going to overexert yourself, cause yourself stress, and you won't change things. You're not going to change the world in those ways. And that's how I've always lived my life without like learning about Taoism or anything. But I remember when I first read some text about it, I was like, yeah, this is true. You know, it was just like a lot of stuff that was common sense to me, but I thought it was written out really nicely in a way that helps me articulate that and not just be like, go with the flow, bro, you know? You know what I mean? So it was nice to see it like written in a way that made sense to me. Also, Cully, you were asking about the tournament. The tournament is already filled by people that I chose and will be broadcast Wednesday. And then what I want to do is do one in Discord again after. So there will be stuff for like community or anyone who wants to just come in and do stuff. But the Wednesday one in particular is a creator that I've handpicked kind of thing already. I realized looking at the tweet, I was like, oh, you know what? People are going to assume that they could just sign up for the Wednesday one. But it's also in 2 days, so I was kind of thinking maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. But I could see by not announcing a roster in that tweet, you know, it's like some people were asking, like, can I sign up for this? But I want to do other stuff later that people can do. And I did actually want to see if I could throw a little prize pool out for another one. Maybe not 20K though. That's funded by the publisher, by Raw Fury, which is actually a crazy amount. I'm like really thankful. I'm really, really thankful. But that's an insane amount. But yeah, have you played the new dudes yet? No, not yet. My plan was to do that today, but then Zen set up this collab. So I'm going to do the collab. I also have a sponsored game today that I really wanted to play that I'm excited for. It's like a single solo dev indie kind of thing. It's my shit, you know what I mean? It's my shit. And I have to play that for 2 hours. So I will get to Dome Keeper depending on how long Mario Party goes. If it's like a quick little something, great. We can get to Dome Keeper today on stream. If not, then I'll probably just play it after stream. And I'm going to play it on the alt channel tomorrow and just drag. I'm going to grab someone. I'm going to find on my friends list who has the most hours and just spam people and get someone to sit there with me and we try to duo. Because I want to figure out synergies between the characters and figure out like what's good. So that way when I'm commentating on Wednesday, you know, I could see if anyone's picking like the god strats and stuff. I think it'd be cool. But yeah. Sometimes religious laws or advice can be quite silly, I feel. Avoiding meat can have some positive benefit, possibly, but when you get into stoning people for working on the Sabbath or for wearing clothes made from 2 separate threads, you start to get into this is batshit insane territory, I feel. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that stuff was made for reasons relevant to society back then. Someone wanted to control something and made a rule and then snuck it in and was like, Jesus said so. You know, or whomever, whatever text. You know, that stuff has always been created and corrupted by man. That's just kind of how it is. Which is why, you know, I was raised in a way where I was like told to respect a lot of our Catholic traditions, but I was never forced to actually be a staunch believer or anything like that, because my family always acknowledged like, hey, so much of this is created and written by man. You know, well, all of it, realistically, the way my nuclear family is, it's like, yeah, all of this was written by people. You know, this isn't some mystical book that God penned and then handed to you or some shit. This was written by dudes. People, you like to hope that many of them are good, but and many in the clergy are truly good, but there are also plenty that are not and just are writing shit in there because they want to control someone or have something go a certain way or whatever. You know, and I was always taught that since I was little, that is how, you know, a lot of things are done. So respect the tradition, understand what to revere. If you want to be spiritual, here's a healthy way to do it without falling victim to other people that want to use that to puppet people, etc., right? That was all taught to me even when I was little. And obviously maybe it wasn't said exactly that way. It was like, hey, bad people do bad things and they'll use anything to do bad things, especially stuff like this, you know? But yeah. But I also, you know, I've historically had many family members that are higher clergy members and stuff, and I knew them and spent time with them and heard their words and knew that their intent was so good and so sacrificial and everything. So for me, my perspective is very, you know, I'm very respectful of a lot of people that give their lives up for, you know, clergy work, because it's just community service. It's literally just being like, I'm going to dedicate myself to community service forever. People don't realize that most of their day-to-day, you do some religious shit and then you're like running soup kitchens and, you know, helping people, depending on where you are. I'm talking about the Catholic Church. Running schools, a lot of nuns just run Catholic schools, and they see it as like, I'm teaching the children, this is my mission, and a lot of the time, etc., etc. There are plenty of bad people in this stuff, but the good ones are all like really self-sacrificial, so I tend to be pretty respectful of that. Did they ever talk to the Pope? The current Pope? I don't think, well, not, I don't know. Maybe. I have had, actually, yeah, no, yes. The current Pope, definitely the last Pope. Definitely the last Pope. Definitely had a lot of family members that have fraternized, we'll say. Spoken to. Hung out with even. But a lot of my family history with that stuff goes way back as well. Those are very present and strong here in South America. Yeah, there's a lot of missionary work. I think there's plenty negative you can say about it. I won't go into that, but there's plenty of negative you can say about it. But there also is a lot of good where Catholic missionaries have gone to places that were not primarily Catholic and then set up a lot of schools and hospitals and things like that. There are also plenty of people that I don't think they had bad intent. I think they just had a really strong intent of what their mission was, and then often like pulled people away from their initial culture a little too much. There are some that really worked with the local culture. And those are the, in my mind, the good ones. And there are plenty that kind of washed that away a little bit when trying to bring Catholicism over. But the good news is plenty of them went in with that mission, and then when they got to these countries were like, oh shit, they need hospitals, oh god, they don't have education, oh god, and then they just focused on the community service more than the religious angle, even though that was still there. And a lot of their life's work ended up just being building schools and educational programs, genuinely. So usually good intent. I don't think always everything that they did was good, though. Sometimes it had, I guess, like you could say, like harm to initial culture, but also they would move people away from maybe some bad practices, like some of the beliefs in voodoo, where they would then shun women to shacks when they had their periods and stuff, and be like, oh, she's tainted during this time of the month. Someone who is Catholic might do a mission in that area and be like, guys, that's not it. Guys, she's fine. She does not have spirits, in her body during this time, right? But the problem is then they would replace it with their own religion, which sometimes also had its own insane quirks depending on who the exact missionary was from the church, right? It's very interesting to read about different people's times doing that kind of stuff. Even if you're not Catholic, it's really cool to read through some of these people's lives and times and what their work was, and then also read through the works from the people that lived in that area beforehand and lived through it to see what their kind of perspective was of the people living there. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. It's one of those really specific areas of study, but I had a friend who studied anthropology in college. And I was like, well, what the hell job are you going to get with that degree? And she was like, you don't fucking get it. And started yapping to me about all this and providing hey, you should read about this. Hey, you should read about that. And I would just sit there and read about it so I could talk to her about it. And a lot of her study was in that stuff. So she would study old missionary programs, from the from the 1800s and early 1900s and beyond, right? And she would study these old missionary programs where Catholic priests would go out and do all these different things in these different areas. And then her work was she wanted to go into some of these areas and kind of clean that up a little, if that makes sense. Work with people in those areas, very, very humanitarian work type of stuff. But she wanted to study how things got there and have that understanding properly. So she's not just some random person walking in doing the same shit, So she got really deep into studying the works of different religious missionaries, 100 years ago prior. in these different areas, and then studying, you know, what happened, what problems they were trying to solve, blah blah blah, so that she could then do humanitarian work in a fully educated way, which I thought was really cool. And she actually has been doing that. And I was like, damn, you're one of the only people that I've talked to that studied anthropology that had like such a clear, specific vision of what job they would do, you know? Very interesting. Yeah, kind of like debugging, right? Because she was saying like there's a lot of good intent here and then also bad that was done. And her goal was she wanted to help these areas get access to the things that they needed in the ways that the churches were trying to help them, but help them retain things culturally, you know, which sometimes happened, sometimes didn't. So she would go to the ones that didn't and try to help out there. And I thought it was cool, really, really cool work. And because of that, now I've read so many papers, so many random papers or like old publications, you know, like it's genuinely like there was a time where that was like a special interest for me for like a year, because she and I would just talk about it, and she was in like a big research phase. It was cool. And then in return, I would show her stuff that I was like into and make her read about it. So it was like an exchange, you know. This explains why you're going through the old Vatican papers the other week. Dude, oh man, I've read absolutely everything from the Second Vatican Council. I love that shit. I love that shit. Reading that and then reading publications from around the world of like people's reactions to the new doctrines. Yeah, Vatican II. Vatican II. Feels like a fever dream looking at the old pictures of it. But yeah, that stuff is just super, super, super fun to, well, I don't know if fun is the word. For me, I think it's super fun to read through. You know? V2 is still a hot topic. It is. Any people about the American Pope who denies Vatican II? I think Vatican II, for anyone who's like, what is that? It was this giant conference that the Pope at the time brought everyone together for. He brings in everyone, like all of the Catholic priests, and like a couple thousand attended. He brings in all the bishops, at the very least, like all the bishops and archbishops and everything. So everyone higher up, the cardinals, everyone's there. They're all in their matching robes, and there's tons of them at the Vatican. And it's a huge conference. And what he wanted to do, the Pope at the time, and Pope Paul continued this. This was many years, where many different people came in and wrote things. The idea was they wanted to produce a bunch of documents that would then alter like the permanent teachings of the church, because he felt they needed to modernize. And he wanted to update like the traditions, because he felt like the traditions needed to be relevant to the modern world. And he wanted to update the traditions instead of going back into like the fundamental writings and have to change all the writings. He just wanted to be like, this is how we interpret this now. And many people agreed with this. Many people disagreed with this. Limbo and stuff around baptized babies. Yeah. Because he felt like a lot of things were too traditional and we're getting into harmful territory. And we're old, basically. And he was like, we need to catch up on some of this shit. Very, very good intent. And the big thing that I liked was, before this, Catholicism was like a super insular thing. And they wanted to say, we need to open dialogue with other sects of Christianity and things. Roman Catholicism cannot be its own thing and not talk to the rest. You know, and that was the idea, which sounds really good on paper. It was also a bit of a power grab. Like, let's make sure all the people who aren't Catholic still listen to the church, though, you know? So that was where some of the discourse started. People being like, yeah, because there are a lot of versions of the same religion. Exactly. So they wanted to be like, we're still the one, though. And that was part of this. And that's why the Pope is still relevant to so many people, and even like normal Christians, even like Baptist Christians. Some of them will listen to the Pope and what he says. Not all of them. There are plenty that don't, but you know what I mean. It's like, that was the idea behind this council, and this is in the early 60s. And it was like a couple thousand bishops and everyone above that level, and just sat down and produced a bunch of documents. One of the big ones was that Mass was never, I remember this that I thought was really interesting. He was pissed because he was like, we never do Mass in the local language of where it's being held. We always do Mass in, like Latin and Italian, and in some areas English. And we're going and doing missionary work everywhere, and people don't fucking understand it. They're like, what's the point, So they updated it to Mass should be held in your local language, and that's it. And you can still read out passages in the other languages and then stand there and interpret it, but a lot of like how Mass is conducted nowadays is because of that. But before that, they were still reading shit in the original language and conducting like the entirety of the Mass in the language. So, yeah. What I'm hearing is that the new Pope is shooting the church in the foot. Not necessarily. There's a lot that was done in this time that was also not great, in my opinion. But you can go read through it. The pictures from it are crazy, too. They built all these seats in certain halls that weren't there previously, just to be able to seat all of the bishops. It was nuts. It's wild they had to get 2,000 bishops together to figure out that, yes, they should give sermons local people can actually understand. No, it was to force them to all hear the word and listen and conform, instead of just sending a newsletter. Also, this was in the 60s. So sending that word out to them might actually be harder than just bring them in, But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's very mystical in here that like didn't need to be written, though, in my opinion. Like there was one decree that basically said this. Here's a quote. In some sense, other Christian communities are institutionally defective. But they can, in some cases, be more effective as vehicles of grace. So, that's why the current Pope is kind of like, I think we should go back on some of this stuff. Like, adjust some of it. Because it was basically like installing the Catholic Church being like, we're the best one, and the others kind of suck. But you know what? At least they're there. Yeah, let's at least use them, right? So, like, some of it's, maybe not the best, but it's one of those things that just is so interesting to read about, because there's only ever been 2 full conventions of the Vatican like this. It's cool. This hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and bajillions of years long institution. And this was only the second one. But the idea was, and it was actually successful, that he wanted to stabilize like the relationships between Catholicism and all the other non-Christian faiths, and some Christian faiths as well. And it kind of did work. Yeah, who's going to VatCon? Who's going to VatCon? We should do a trip. Yeah, they could do a new one and stream it on TikTok. Oh, man. My grandma definitely followed that. She treated my sister and I as inferior because we were raised Lutheran and not Catholic. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, there were some negatives from it that you may have noticed in your upbringing. Because this was in the 60s, so I would wager that a lot of you, your parents, were raised on these changes if they were in any religion, not just Catholicism, but any religion kind of related. you know? So it's very interesting. Very interesting, all this stuff. I love reading through religious texts and things from like all religions because I love the way they're written. Because nowadays I feel like we just have people speaking very colloquially, very casually. You have some business speak, which, you know, a lot of business jargon sounds stupid as hell. And then you've got legalese, I guess. You've got legalese, which is its own annoying slop to read through, very hard to get your brain around sometimes. I feel like it takes me 10 minutes more to read a passage that's in a contract than any other passage, you know? So it's just interesting to read through like religious texts because they're always written in such an interesting way, you know? Said you were raised Mormon, can't recall ever being told to treat other brands of Christianity one way or another. Yeah, I remember in Catholic Church being taught that you are to feel kind of bad for, but not overly pity, just a little pity, the others, because they don't know the right way. And it's a little sad. That's kind of how it was taught. It was like, yeah, their teachings aren't as good and aren't as correct and aren't as pure to the original teachings. And that's just sad for them. And maybe you could, you know, help them a little. And that's how it was taught. And I always thought that was kind of, I was like, all right. Because I was never like a strong believer, you know. I just liked the traditions and learning about it. So I was always like, okay, interesting teaching there. I was raised Christian fundamentalist, and we were taught Catholics were bad Christians. Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of it's fundamentalist and Baptist and like all the stronger Christian branches and Catholicism all just kind of see each other as inferior. It's funny, man. It's funny like reading them talking about each other. It's like prime drama content, you know? When the Pope gets up there and he's like, those Lutherans, and you're like, ooh. Ooh. It's fun, man. Drama. So I'm fascinated by cults, not general crime, true crime, just cults. Oh, dude. I've been watching documentaries. My favorite is why am I crying? My favorite is the age of Netflix documentaries that we're into right now. And YouTube documentaries. We're getting so many documentaries on cults. Oh. Love it. Love it. I was just watching ones on the FLDS. I was like aware of these situations, but I love watching documentaries so you can hear the people talk about specifics and things. Oh. There's two. There's one from all the Warren James shit. That was the guy who had like 78 wives or something. And was really like the big fundamentalist Mormon guy. The one that stood up there and was like, I'm actually the prophet and you all have to marry me. God wills it. And then they were like, yes, prophet, because that's, you know, a lot of fundamentalist Mormonism is, you know, listen to everything the prophet says because that's the only guy that talks to God. So they think that's true and they're like, yes, prophet, and they all marry him, right? And then it turns out there's like crazy abuse. Who would have guessed, right? And then after he was jailed, was it 2009 or something like that? He was jailed because they found him for a bunch of crimes. Who would have guessed, right? And then there was sort of a gap. And some other dude shows up. And he was always like people didn't really think he was that cool or anything. He was kind of like a loser. Bro shows up and is like, my God. God has told me that I'm the prophet now and I have to carry out his and Warren's will in his stead. You all have to marry me. And then he also started doing the same shit that Warren James did. And it's like round two, and I felt so fucking bad. It's truly tragic though. Like watching it is like not funny, you know, but just like thinking about this dude just being like, oh, me though, actually, crazy, insane. And it's just like, so what a coinky dink. God talked to me and said, I'm the prophet now. And then he just shows up. And he's just like, hey, it's me. I'm gonna be doing our thing. Where, you know, since Warren's not here, you could just listen to me now. And he started, it was crazy because he was like marrying all the women, right? Marrying all the women. And he had like 3 main guys that were like his big followers, his earliest followers. And then what he was doing was telling them he needed to marry their wives. And he was like, this is part of the struggle. This is God's test for you. You have to give me your wives and all of your daughters to marry all of them. And he did. And they let him do that because they were like, this is God's test for me. Because he told them that and they believed him. Literally cuck sharing them. Insane. And then he would do shit like he'd make them watch and stuff. And he would like, and it got real bad is what I'll say. It got worse than that. It got real bad. So that guy's also in jail now. Wouldn't you know? Who would have thought he'd also end up doing some criminal shit? But this was all like, those people still live there. And a lot of them, there's like a fracture now. There's a fracture, a divide, where there are plenty of people that are like, you are not FLDS, you're a false prophet and you're a fucking weirdo and you should be tried for your crimes. And then there are also people, many of his former wives managed to like escape and are reformed, but there are also plenty that still believe in him and still like call him from jail. And they're like, tell me your word, we need you. Crazy. I hope they wake up, one day. I really hope they do. Let me guess, one, if not a handful, were underage. Yep, and that was the crimes that they got him on. It's a cool documentary. There's a Netflix documentary on it. So this one's really genuinely worth watching because a lady who herself was previously Mormon and also kind of got tricked by a false prophet, she went to school for psychology after all of this and really like found herself and fixed everything. And her purpose is she just wants to help people out of these situations now, right? She married a guy who is a film guy, a director. She and he moved to that town where Warren James used to live and where the second guy, came in. And she moved there wanting to help people and found this guy doing his stuff. And they spent over a year with this guy, getting really close to him and filming him and his wives and saying, oh, we're going to make a documentary on you. And genuinely, these people trusted them more than like anyone else. And so they use so much of that footage in the documentary. So it's really cool because it's not just most documentaries are retelling and they do like dramatic reenactments and stuff. This one was straight up like footage from that whole year of them being with him. So I really liked this documentary. It was cool because it's rare that you get like all of that inside footage like that for these sorts of things. It's really, really, really well done. Really well done. And you see these people telling each other that they like love the documentarians, right? They're like, we love guys, and it's just cool seeing like them do it. And then what sucked is you see the anguish that the lady, who was like running all this goes through when she's like, they're going to see me as betraying them when they find out that I'm the one that reported this guy to the FBI. And she's like calling them and staying in their good graces and everything. And she you could tell she really loves them and wants to help them. But she's also very understanding that to help them, she has to do the thing that they don't want her to do, which is report their prophet to the police, right? And she did. But it's so interesting because you're seeing all of this as it was filmed. It's not reenactments. Really, really good documentary, man. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. What was the name? Her name was Christina Marie. And then the name of the documentary was... It's on Netflix right now. Finding it. Where's the name? Oh, Trust Me. It's called Trust Me, the False Prophet. Trust me. Because that is literally what she does. She gets in there, moves there, convinces them that she's, good and wants to help them, and they just want to make a documentary. And then, of course, like the ego of the main guy that like became the new prophet, the ego that he had, it was really like, hey, film this. Yeah. Oh, you guys are so trustworthy. He was just like so excited to show the world what he wanted to do. But the thing that made me laugh was this guy got so delusional. He started out, telling people, oh, I'm the prophet and you should follow me, right? Oh, give me all your wives. It got crazier and crazier. But like toward the end, he started saying shit like his mission was that he needed to build this giant mansion that looks like a palace. He had plans for it and everything. He was like, taking money from so many people, and he's like, we need to build this huge palace. It was like bigger than the White House, you know? He's like, we have to do it. And he was saying, we have to do it because I need to invite the Queen of England. It is my mission. She is to become one of the wives. I need her to come here and hear my word. But then he says, but she won't come here. We're out in the sticks. Look at this place. We need to build this place up. And then that was like, in my mind, that was like his weird rationale to get his giant house built. You know what I mean? Like he went through crazy lengths to sell people on these insane ideas, but literally this was his rationale for his big house. That was it. That was really, really like, you could tell that was what the guy wanted, you know? He just wanted money and a big house, but he's like, we got to get the Queen of England here. God has told me that she is my wife, and I must bring her here so she can understand. Oh, it was crazy. It was just crazy. It's just such a good documentary. That's just like one tiny tidbit. There were so many good things. And you're seeing real footage of this guy saying, I'm going to marry the Queen of England. Like, you see him saying it out loud, which is just insane. I wonder what they all thought after she passed. There's no footage from that time because like it was all done by that point, but I'm very curious. Said, I don't get how Mormonism is still so prevalent these days. A couple things. Number one, baseline Mormonism is not nearly as extreme as like the fundamentalist movement. So they're not going to feel like they're like the crazy ones. The other part is it's very insular. So they've taken over entire towns, entire areas. They just send a lot of them to the same colleges. A lot of colleges are straight up Mormon schools. There's stuff like BYU, right? Yeah, it's just so insular community wise. So it's very easy for someone to get raised in that and not see issues. You know? Yeah, like basically all of Utah is Mormon. Yeah. What is the population of Utah? Let me see. Typing with one hand because I have snacks in the other. 3.55 million people with a growth rate of 1.3%. Okay, Utah population, Mormon. There are approximately 2.06 to 2.2 million members of the Mormon Church in Utah, which is about 60 to 67% of the state population. That should put it into perspective. When you live in a state where like so many of those people are the same thing, of course it's going to be prevalent, you know? And there's quite a lot of them in the surrounding states too. I think Idaho has a lot, and Wyoming, like the areas just north. I don't know. Wait, all Utah? Yeah, that's out of all of Utah, 60 to 67% report being Mormon. That's like, I've actually known plenty of people that were Mormon that were very nice. I think a lot of the base teachings are just to like be nice, genuinely, that the things that are reinforced daily. But depending on how deep they get into it, some stuff gets a little crazy. It just depends. It just depends. But I feel like it gets crazy the way any religion gets crazy. Because people will be like, oh, those Mormons are so insane with their weird little undies and yeah, no hot drinks. But then like,
Having grown up in a place where most of the people I knew were Mormon, they're generally chill guys.
Yeah. And most of the ones I've met have been like super nice. There was just one who was raised Mormon and raised very traditionally Mormon, who I've told this story before, but there was a dude who went to my college. And he specifically wanted to go to a college and study science, and he wanted to go somewhere that was not a Mormon school. Because he's like, I want to learn from the outside because I feel like things are insular and I just want to bring in outside knowledge. That was really all it was. And one of us showed him like the Mormon papers. There's like a website and a set of papers that are written by former Mormons to kind of like wake them up a little bit and point out some things that are, not good. And And I remember someone in a group of friends showed it to him and basically set him on a path of becoming ex-Mormon from that, which was interesting. The best part is they have like 7 years of food stored in the basement. Yeah. Yeah, they can't do coffee, tea, liquor. They got to wear the special undies. The big thing, like someone brought it up, the big thing is that they teach you to have tons of children to spread the good word. But I feel like most fervent religions do this. The Baptist church, Baptist Christianity is huge on that. There's a movement called like the Quiverful movement. Have you ever watched that show, 19 Kids and Counting? They're part of that movement. They're in, I think, Arkansas. They're down in the South. And one of their main teachings is you need to have as many children as you possibly can to flood the earth with as many of our people as you can, is kind of like the idea. Quiverful, it's called that because it's like, this is how they say it. You're shooting arrows, right? You got a quiver full of arrows. Each child is an arrow in your quiver to launch at the world. That is why it's called that. It's like a weird analogy, but that's why it's called that. It's literally like named in a way that implies they're weaponizing them, which is a little crazy. But that's kind of what they're taught. And that's the same as like Mormonism, you know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of these religions teach the same thing, like have lots of kids so there's more of us, you know? So I don't really look at them as they're all so different. I feel like they're all so the same, actually. They have their quirks, but you know. Hard Catholicism does the same. Yeah, a lot of Irish Catholics back in the day were all parts of like 14 kid families and stuff. Yeah, it's been a thing for a long time. For a very long time. But yeah. Isn't it wild? Vatican II was when Catholicism stopped being so anti-birth control, right? Yes. Yes and no, but yes. It was sort of a ramp up, slow ramp up, but yes. So George Carlin was probably right. As long as what you do doesn't negatively affect someone else, it's fine. Otherwise, you're doing it wrong. Yeah. That's where I'm at. You know? In our religion, we don't believe in pulling out. I mean, it's funny because so many of the topics that they'll teach in all these religions are about that, but they try to find ways to dance around it because they're also like, you can't talk about it though, and you can't like it. You have to hate it. It's God's will and it's my duty or whatever the fuck, right? But they're trying to imply it. And reading some of the writings, the teachings, and how they try to talk about it without talking about it is always funny. It's always funny. Yeah, lights off. Yeah, pretty much. That shit's funny, man. Also, someone brought up earlier, but they brought up the TikTok Scientology speedruns. Dude, have you seen this? This is my new favorite thing. This is my new favorite thing on the internet right now. They're going... Now, I do not condone doing this, but I will find it funny as fuck. Oh my God. They keep going to the Scientology offices, to like buildings, and they try to do a speed run, and they try to see how far they can get. And they're like 80% speed run, and they just run in the doors and try to go as far as they can and try to get in like to new rooms that other people haven't gotten into. They go to the one in Hollywood specifically, which it's an open office. They bring in people that like, you know, they're not going to have like deep secrets in there the same way, you know, some of the other places are. But you saw Haka say new off collab idea. We gotta call Haka. Haka, come to America. I have an idea. Yeah, they keep calling it like a new roguelike, and they're like, new roguelike, run into the office and see how far you can get. Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. I genuinely, though, I will say this, though. I would never do it, even if it's funny, because they will learn your face and name. They have ridiculous amounts of money because they scam all of their followers into giving them tons of money. They have ridiculous amounts of money, and they have a lot of lawyers, and they have a lot of people in high up places that are down with their cause, I guess, for whatever reason. Not exactly sure, but they do. And yeah, they can litigate you over fucking anything and probably win. And they've done some crazy shit to silence so many people. Yeah, very controlling. Yeah, they have a private jail. That should tell you enough. That should tell you enough. So yeah, I wouldn't go and solo them. You know what I mean? What? Oh, she. Brother, people disappear. People disappear. Like, no joke, people disappear. Okay? So, yeah. So I love those TikToks. I personally will not be running into their buildings, you know. But I will watch those TikToks. I will do it. That's another one I've watched a lot of documentaries on and everything. I watch from afar with great interest. They stalk former members. There's no real leaving them. Oh, you can't leave. Yeah. You can't leave. They have an army of magicians that make you disappear. They send the wizards out. They send the wizards, dude. It's true. It's true. Your mom dragged you into a course with them after your parents split. They're nuts. They make you pay for courses, and then it's literally, we were talking about self-help before. It's literally like the self-help shit. And then they keep adding more and more angles of introspection to it. And they keep layering it on. And they keep making you pay for the courses. You need to buy this new book. You need to pay to go do this course. You need to do an audit. You need to pay for this audit of yourself. And then someone sits there and asks you questions that are just fucking weird. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And one of the ways that they keep people in is not just that they don't let you leave because they harass you, but also that sunken cost fallacy is so strong. People don't want to admit, this is true of like all humanity. People don't want to admit when they've made a mistake, and they are more likely to double down than to pull back and be like, oh, I was wrong. Because that means you lost time and you lost money in these types of situations, right? And you have to be like, I was an idiot and I lost time and I spent all my money. And no one wants to do that. So they're like, by nature, they're like resistant to accepting that. So they just kind of like, you know, stay in. I only say I was wrong, so checkmate. Yeah, only I can say I was incorrect. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it's insane, man. Full MLM. I think it's literally the same as like what the Manosphere is doing right now. You know what I mean? I was talking the other day about how I watched a documentary on that too. This stuff's always fun to watch. And they it's just MLM schemes the whole time. It's the same thing, except the Manosphere is not a religious angle. Instead, it's like a cultural movement angle. Right? But it's literally parallel to a lot of like religious cult stuff, like with Scientology and with, you know, some of the LDS stuff. It's the same. It's the same format. Isn't that crazy? Where the homie Xenu at? Don't say that. You can't. That'll be $500,000. You got to pay first before you can say that. I remember watching one documentary where Leah Remini was talking about it. She's like been the biggest one talking about all this shit. And she was saying like her mom, you know, she came from a long line of people that were in Scientology. And her mom, when she got to the level where she got to learn about Xenu and all of the like weird space shit and the alien overlord Xenu, right? When she got to that level, her mom wanted to be there because she was so excited for her. So Leah said, like, she sits down and they give her a bunch of texts and they're like, this, you have reached a certain level. You are now able to handle the truth. This is the truth. And they hand her a paper that just says, like, everything you've been taught is leading up to this. And it tells us how we were from, you know, Xenu and shit, and the alien overlord and all that, right? And she said she read it and immediately like looked at her mom and was like, what the fuck is this? You know, like, what the hell? Because she didn't think that this was going to be the ultimate truth that they were going to hand her, is all the aliens, right? And she said her mom was like looking at her excited, like, isn't it amazing? And she said that was like her biggest wake up call, was that moment where she's like, what the fuck is this? I felt so bad, but it was so funny at the same time. I was like, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm going to become the god of my own planet one day. When I die, I'm not actually dead. My thetans just realign and shit.
Xenu, I raise you one collab.
You can't say that one either. It's the secret knowledge, dude. Forgot about the deep lore once you're at a certain point. Yeah, dude, it gets so insane. Anyway, I just really think you should watch all these documentaries, man. They're so good. And a lot of them are on Netflix now. Netflix has been funding or just supporting these like documentaries about this shit. And I eat them up. I eat them up. They're so good. When are you starting your Geega Cult and Companion Manosphere podcast so you can build your God-sanctioned mansion? You know, I look at this and I'm like, if I was just like one tick evil in a different direction, that would be it, right? That would be the way, dude. You can make so much money by just like, it's crazy because they all do the same thing. They find vulnerable people, tell them what they want to hear, and then be like, actually, there's some deep secret that only we know. You'll have to pay for it though, and then you'll unlock the secrets of life. They all follow the same format, and it works. It's crazy.
Divine Max and forgiveness smog from her man science.
Divine Maxing is crazy. The Louis Theroux Manosphere one was so good. Yeah. My favorite thing about the way he does his documentaries is he'll stand next to someone. He's there, and then there's person A next to him, and he's talking to them, and he just gets quiet. So one of the Manosphere guys is talking to him, right? And Louis is like, what does your girlfriend think about all this? And the guy's like, she loves it. He was talking about like how he's like allowed to be with other women. And he was like, yeah, my girlfriend's cool with it. And Louis just goes, yeah. And just stares at him. And the guy just starts like nervously talking. My favorite is that the documentarian, Louis Theroux, just does that all the time to people. He like knows the perfect timing to just be quiet and look at someone to get them to have to like fill the time and think about what they just said, you know? Yeah, he lets them dig their own grave. He does, and which is why I like what he does, because some people that make documentaries, I feel like they hold a carrot on a stick for people and they try to lead them into saying specific things, whereas he just lets them talk. He just lets them talk, and he's just like, I'm curious about this, tell me more. And then they do, and he goes, and they're like, no, but actually, and they just talk into their own terrible downward spiral. You know? It's so good. It's so good. Is the Manosphere like MLMs directed at men? How progressive, right? It was a woman thing, you know? Avon. No, MLMs have been around in all forms for a long time, but they're using... The difference is nowadays they're using the digital world really well to do this. They're really good at it. So now they do, you get invited to their Telegram chats, right? They'll be like, here's my podcast, and they use their podcast and their podcast clips and shorts and things to hook people in and be like, this guy's talking about a reasonable topic that I kind of agree with. And it'll be a guy that sounds like he's about to say a George Carlin-esque thing, but then it's got some little edge of something to it, but something some guy wants to hear, right? And then the person follows them and listens to more, and they get in the sauce. And then when they're like, how do I be like this person? Or how do I do this? How do I get better at whatever I'm trying to do? That's when they get advertised to. And they're like, hey, man, here's, here's supplements you can buy. But if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to be like me, they go, you can so easily. I'm making a bajillion dollars. They'll be like, I just woke up and opened my phone and saw that I had $3,000 more today, right? They'll do that kind of bit, and they'll show it to their followers and be like, this could be you easily. And that's where the MLM starts. Yeah, they're like, sell my shit for me and make other people sell my shit. Easy. You'll make so much money. Yeah, join our private chat, right? And then then it gets like really crazy and these people end up buying in and it just oof. Oof. It gets insane. You know? It's crazy having them get away without even selling things, just advice. Some of them, what they're selling is books and like classes, and they try to get dudes to like have meetings for them. And so they'll be like, I'll teach you shit and give you books and stuff to read, and then you hold classes for people. And for using my books, you kick up a fee to me, and then you keep the rest of the fees from people where you sit around and talk to them. And they try to make people sign up for like weekly and monthly courses to just talk about shit. And it's like nice for them because it's genuinely like they wanted friendship. They get a little community feeling. They get to like let a lot of their feelings out. But it's also in like a bad environment. So, but they don't realize that, and they end up paying for it. And then like the dude at the top just soaks up all that money, man.
A lot of bits from that bender last night.
Thank you.
Anyway, have you considered purchasing my supplements? Each purchase earns you a stamp in our loyalty club, and if you get 10 stamps, you will be given access to divine revelation.
Ooh, gotta have that. Gotta have that. I need it. I need it. Yeah, it's all just crazy, man. I think it'd be fine if these things were actually good or helpful. Because then it's just kind of like therapy at that point. Which, and a lot of these dudes do get something good out of it. It's not all bad, which is how they rationalize the bad, because they get like a group of like-minded people to sit around and talk to every week if they sign up for these courses or whatever. And it's genuinely therapeutic and cathartic for them, and it feels nice, and they want to see these buddies again, and they become friends with these guys, and they genuinely feel like their life has improved a bit. And I guess in the community sense, it has. So because there's something good that's happened, they excuse everything else, But it's literally like, it's like the old pickup artist shit. Remember in the earlier YouTube days when dudes would be like, here's how you pick up girls. And then they do some crazy cringe shit. And everyone was like, what are they talking about? It's the same stuff. It's the same stuff. They just try to pretend it's not, But then it turns into an echo chamber. Exactly. But once you get someone into the echo chamber, you've got them and you can get their money. That's the problem, right? When you see something happening that you keep hearing about, but you like don't know what it is and you don't really see a lot of specifics on it, it means it's happening in echo chambers and people are getting taken advantage of. But when you see something happening and it's very out in the open and you can engage with it immediately, it's likely that less of it is happening behind closed doors, and it's maybe still not good, but less easily harmful, right? You know what I mean? So when you see a bunch of people hopping on a trend on like Twitter, let's say, and talking about it there, and you see it's like very open, it's usually less crazy than the ones that you hear about but don't see, And I feel like Manosphere stuff is like that, where you hear about it, you see some of the streamers, but like you're like, where are these people sitting around talking about it though? They're in like Telegram chats that are paid for, and some of them are in those chats, some of them are just in YouTube comments, but a lot of them are also in these little areas that like you don't have access to easily immediately. So, and that's where it gets kind of weird. It gets kind of odd. Women love it when you invade their space and breathe on them. Oh, they love heavy breathing right on their face. They love that. So fun. So fun. Oh man. Some of the things that they suggest too. The thing that should be obvious is they always say, they're like, oh, I have so many girls around me because my methods work. It's not because their methods work. It's because a lot of these guys, one of their businesses is managing OnlyFans models. Okay? This is how they make a lot of money. A lot of money. They go and they grab a bunch of OnlyFans girls and they help manage them, and they act like an agency for them in a predatory way. And they hook them up with some sponsors, whatever, and then they take a cut of their revenue. But the thing is, they tend to take big cuts of their revenue and they try to control. They're like, we'll help manage you, as in we'll give you advice. And they start trying to tell them what to do. And, oh, I'll hook you up with a studio that can shoot all your stuff. And they basically like take over their careers so that the girl is just the girl and she doesn't have much agency over her business, even though she's the person in the pictures, you know? And yeah, and they end up making bank. They make bank. One of the things they do is they also run companies that like do messaging for them. So when you pay for like a private messaging thing, engagement with one of these girls, sometimes it's like one of their people that's paid that's just talking to you, right? And they make a lot of money doing that too. And then what they do is they sell their followers on, you could do this too. You could manage a couple of these girls for me, kick up some of the money to me. I'll let you keep some. Now you're an entrepreneur. You're just like me. Right? That's a lot of what they do. Genuinely, a lot of their businesses are that. And then now they all can take pictures with these girls because they're in their spheres. And then they tell other people, look at how many women are around me and talk to me. As if, like, their methods worked on women on the street, but that's not what this is. You know, it's almost all people who, like, their livelihoods now depend on these people, you know? So it's a little weird. It's a little weird. And they you know, it's mutually beneficial too. The girls can use those guys for clout too. So like a lot of the girls will just kind of jump at it because they're like, well, at least even if they take some money, at least I'm making more than I would have alone, you know? So unfortunately, a lot of them also do kind of like just throw themselves at it. And it gets a little crazy. It gets a little crazy. So, didn't Tay go to prison for this sort of thing? Well, what I'm describing is all actually, if they're doing it the right way, it's all super legal. I think there are bad power imbalances. Yeah, I don't think it's like morally good to do it certain ways. I will say having management and having people help you run your social media stuff, whatever, is viable and a normal type of business. Like people have managers, that's fine. That's all okay. But it's the way they go about it, how much they take, and how much they take agency over everything that the girls do that gets like, you know, kind of crazy. Yeah, right. It depends on who's in the driver's seat, for sure. I think all engagements in like social media management or talent management, whatever, can be good or bad. Right? It just really depends on the people and what they're doing with it specifically, right? So that's kind of the problem. That's why I like doing what I'm doing with my company, is because like I'm trying. It's still kind of niche because I'm looking at one part of this industry, but I'm saying how can I make a platform where they can still have control over it, over what's going on, right? Like if I'm on my platform and I'm doing sponsors through my platform, and I have a manager on there who tries skimming money, I have all the receipts. So I can kick them out, I could litigate, I could do whatever I need because I have what I have, right? So that's kind of my thought, is like, I just want to expand from there because I see so much stuff that people regularly do that is really like, they're just taking advantage of people too easily. It shouldn't be that easy, you know? It shouldn't be like that simple. Of course, none of them want to change it because they're all making money off of people, you know? So it has to be like, it has to be creator-led movements to change that kind of stuff. It has to be creator-led companies, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. It's just insane. It's just insane. Crazy. So I think like genuinely, I think OnlyFans models, some of them, their careers are like, I've talked to a few and learned kind of the ins and outs of some of their careers. And some of them really do need help in management. They're booked all the time. There's so much shit that they have to do. And it's definitely an always on job, you know? So there's a lot of space for them to need management, to need help, and to need teams. But there's also no way for them to like make sure that the people that they're hiring can't fuck them over, you know? So I'm always looking at that side of the industry too, being like, there's got to be a better way. There's just got to be a better way for a lot of this, you know? Yeah, Mr. Crow. I was going to say what Ninja just said to you. I'm literally describing the opposite. Comprehension. LOL. Why are you always surrounded by so many male streamers? You gonna write self-help books for women soon? Could you imagine? The Femosphere. The Femosphere. No, I don't think you could do that to women. as easily because they're already like beauty influencers and girls that have Stanley mugs on Instagram and shit. Like when girls are like self-care, they're like, I'm gonna do my nails. You know what I mean? It's harder to get them on shit like that, genuinely. Girls are also really good at going to each other and being like, this thing you're doing, not it. Right? Like dudes tend to not do that to their dude friends when it comes to, I think, like overall behavior and stuff on average. Women are like behind the scenes, they tear each other apart, and not necessarily in a bad way, often in a constructive way. So I find it's a little harder to like have women fall into that type of scheme necessarily in the same exact format as the Manosphere stuff. Not that there isn't something else that could probably be done, you know, like there's always ways to trick people because people are people, but you know, men will let other men go off the deep end because it's not their business. Yeah, I think like women on average tend to get in each other's business a little more. A little more. So you'd have to be really calculated to like make a Manosphere-esque scheme for women that's new in the modern day, not some like old ongoing thing. I just think about it, I'm like, oh, that's the tougher crowd for that sort of thing for sure. You know? Men typically don't talk about what we do unless asked most of the time too. Yeah, exactly. It's like there's less openness, you know? There's definitely less openness, so it's just kind of like, you know, there's that. Sounds like an overall position each other. No, wish that changed. Yeah, yes and no. I mean, there are also plenty of situations where someone be like, "Oh, yeah, we all know that this thing is like this or whatever," and I'm like, "No one told me." I don't. Sometimes I don't know. I don't know. I think the female equivalent is Beachbody. No joke. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I don't know. It's not something I think too hard about though, because I'm like, what if I just did nice business for people? Nice, honest business, you know? But I'm sure there are people that stay up at night being like, what scheme can I create today? I don't know. When I think about it, I just go, that sounds annoying. We might reschedule the collab because Fruit can't do today. Hold on. Because I want to reschedule so we can have Fruit in. Oh, yeah, there we go. And you know what that means? Maybe we can hit up Dome Keeper. Maybe we can. New chatter. I thought you were funny in the Jabroni Mike Horsey game race, but VTubers are weird to me conceptually. So I hope you have a good day. Keep up the good work. Are you scared? Are you scared? Cartoon Network spook you a little bit? Look, man, it's not weird. It's weird if you do weird things with it. That's what it's weird. I also think streaming is super weird, yet I watch streamers. Because, again, is what you do with it. You know? You think they said that to like 20 Mike's friends? Probably. I was scared of the robot guy from Toonami. No, he's nice. He's a nice guy, dude. Does Mike have a model too? Yeah, Mike is also part VTuber. He hasn't been using it that much, though. He uses it for certain segments, usually. He does. The Jazz Mister, as he calls him. I love that model. He has one of my favorite models. Full-on clown man. So good. So good. Like a Lovecraftian horror, the concept alone instills fear. I mean, yeah, I think to the non-VTuber watching crowd, it's just weird, but they don't know what to say about it half the time. So like, one of my friends sent me this. Someone posted something on Reddit, and my friend sent it to me because she was like, I think you'd find this funny. There's a Reddit post, and it's on, what subreddit is this? Hold on, let me open it. Let me find it. It's on R battle stations, which I think is just people posting pictures of their like desk and computer setups. And the bro has 4 monitors. He has 3 VTuber streams up, all Hololive girls, okay? He's got 3 VTuber streams up and 1 tab of Northern Lion. And I'm like, that's so fucking funny. Just that picture, like it's just like a little dim, the lighting's not that good. It's his desk setup looks, you know, too busy, wires just all over the place in the back, and then he's just got 3 VTubers and NL open. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right, man. Like that's fully tracks. But then the thing is, the comments on here are the perfect example of this is what normal people say when they see someone watches VTubers. Ready? Someone just, first comment is not about VTubers. They're just like, watching 4 streamers at the same time? What kind of office do you work in? A dopamine siphon? Cute. Fine. Next one is just someone being like, this looks like a procrastination setup. Fine. Then, next one down, immediately, one guy goes, get help, bro. Get help, bro. That's what I always see on this kind of stuff. Whenever someone's like, I watch VTubers in a normal place that is not made for that stuff and not like, you know, that. It's just people going, what the fuck is wrong with you? And that's it. And it's never not funny to me, man. Get help! Yeah, it's because he's watching NL. Did you guys see his announcement today? Did you see it? Yes, no? Poop Cruise 2, the Northern Lion Super Cruise is real. The NL Super Cruise is real. And I think it's really funny because some people found like a leak of something related to it like a week ago. And they were like, this shit is so fake. That's got to be a scam website. Don't go to it. They were like, that shit can't be real, right? And I thought it was really funny because I was talking to Kate the other day and Kate was like, bro, we're going to be announcing this thing on Monday and people found it. And they're saying they think it's a scam because they don't realize it's real. Wow. And she's in call me. She's like, bro, no. I thought it was so funny. She was dooming. She was like, no, we want it to be a fun thing. It's just because they love cruises so much. They go on so many. And they found that like you can work with cruises to set up your own thing. I think the best way to describe it is it's all the same format as setting up a convention. It's the same as setting up a convention, except it's on a cruise. It's on a cruise ship. There are like event panels that you can set up. You can have merch sold. You can have themes and things. It's just that you're on a boat. How do you rent an entire ship? Well, the idea with this is the ship has the capacity that it has. If enough people go, it will get filled with people for the super cruise first. If there's still spots left and it gets closer to the cruise, then they'll probably have it like open to some other people to just go on the cruise at that point, you know? Which is the same way conventions work when they have their hotel blocks and everything. They fill the hotel rooms with their convention goers first, and then if there's left over, it just gets open to the public after, right? So it's just a cruise, but like-minded people, you know, hopefully. It's really all it is, man. Yeah, the regular ticket price and the super cruise is more. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is whenever you do a cruise and you have it like rented out for like an event-based one. It's not necessarily that like their team sets the price, it's the cruise team that sets the price. You know, because they have to do, the way they rationalize it is there's a lot of extra work that they have to do that's outside of their norm, and they hire more staff and everything. So, you know, that's what they say. That's what the cruise company, you know, will set it at. But I mean, hey, if you don't want to pay it, you just don't go. Easy. It's for people that want a vacation. That's all. I think it's like a 5-day one too. It's 5 days and you stop at 2 spots in Mexico and you go through like the Caribbean. He kept describing it as a hitman mission. I hope everyone that goes shaves their head. I just hope that literally everyone shaves their head. I want everyone to just go bald and go there. It'll grow back, okay? It'll grow back. Please, all of you, shave your head bald. Okay. Put on glasses and go. While I have nothing specific to announce, I will say I've been talking to Kate a lot about it, and we're definitely going to do something. No matter what it is, we're going to do something. I will be involved. That's the most I can say, because we're still figuring out a lot of things, so I'm not going to be like, oh, we're doing this, oh, we're doing that, because it depends on how many people, all this kind of stuff, but yeah, we're working on stuff. I will be involved, for sure. Can I get the Geega mascot to attend? I did joke about that, but I'm not joking. I did say, unironically, like I was like, I could send the mascot suit, dude. But can it fit through the hallways? Like, I don't know. I don't know. NL wants to do a Peloton class. Could you imagine morning, like, stretching, Peloton? Brother. It could be crazy. Lock in my Geega and Pookie, in parentheses, Squeaks collab will finally happen. Yeah, Squeaks is going to be there. I think it's Squeaks, Dan. I don't know who else is announced. I know on the back end, like, more people, but I don't want to say names because I don't think they were in the funny little trailer that, you know, that was made. Did you see the trailer video? Actually, did they show the trailer video? Did he show it at all? I didn't watch. Only Squeaks and Dan so far? Yeah. Kate showed me. They had some announcement video. Was it the one that looked like an old TV show? Is this the right description? Like a TV show intro where it's just got music and then it just like shows someone for too long. It says, with your favorite streamers, plural, Northern Lion. And then it goes also guesting. It's that one, right? Kate showed it to me the other night. And she was like, I didn't know we needed like a trailer, so we did one. And Dan's editor did it real quick. She was like, is this okay? And I'm like, why are you asking me? It's what you have. I just love hearing Kate complain when she's like, is this all right? I don't know. It's never not funny. Oh, man. So it's going to be a normal cruise, just a bunch of 30 plus people hanging on a boat. Sounds chill. Yeah, literally. It's just like, it's just going to be chill. That's the point of it. It's not going to be some crazy rager. It's not going to be, I don't know how much content, quote unquote, they're going to have planned for it. Like how many panel-like, convention-like activities they're going to have. Because there's just so much to do on the boat normally. And a lot of people are going to want to just hang out and be like, damn, the ocean's so nice, you know? So I don't know. I can't physically go, though, because I'm 8'7", and I would get clocked instantly. So I don't even think I would, like, fit on the boat that well. I'll be announcing more as time passes. Yeah, I mean, it's not until, next March? There's a lot of time, so yeah. Because so much of it is going to be dependent on, like, how many people want to go. Nah, me. You would fall through the gaps in the railing and fall off the boat. No, I'm 8'7". That's the problem. It's the issue, man. And I'm saying even if it is like Firefest, it'd be awesome to be in. Honestly, yeah. I mean, I think if people are just hanging out and chilling, and then it's like some stuff is like a little weird, fuck it. Firefest was great. I remember the pictures from it where people were like expecting it to be so cool, and then it was just a bunch of tents. It was just a bunch of tents and sand. And they're like, we're in enough toilets. Oh, so cool, man. I mean, that's the thing, is they're using existing infrastructure. Like, it's a cruise. They already know how to do a cruise. Like, the cruise knows how to operate a cruise. This is a company that operates them normally. So I'm gonna hope that turns out okay. But there's that part of me that hopes it goes full poop cruise. Okay? There's that thing in the back of my brain being like, fuck, I hope they lose power. Okay? Boat doesn't tip, people don't die. I just hope they lose power and you go full poop cruise. Right? And then it's, oh, he should invite Mr. Beast. And they turn off the power on purpose. And then Mr. Beast is like, I tested hundreds of people, thousands of people on a boat, all Northern Line fans, to see what they would do when there's too much poop on the boat and nowhere to dispose of it. What factions will form? What drama will occur? Right? It could be such a good Mr. Beast video. Then he becomes Mr. Feast and starts eating all the people to survive. It'd be so cool, dude. It could be amazing. Imagine. Mr. Yeast, Mr. Feast. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think there's a lot of potential for this to go really well. I don't think it'll go really poorly unless literally the boat loses power. But there's potential for it to just be like, you know what might happen? I think it'll be a normal cruise with some extra fun stuff to do that's specific to the community. And what's going to happen is some people are not going to engage with all of it. And then they're going to be like, that shit was just a normal cruise, bro, and be mad. That's it. You know? I think that's what's going to happen. Some people are going to be like, I can't believe that was a normal cruise, even though it's advertised as a normal cruise with some extra stuff to do. You know what I mean? Ooh, NL in a Lord of the Flies situation with a shirt tied around his head, wading through knee-deep shit flurries, wielding a spear made out of a Peloton monitor. Peloton monitor mace. You take the handlebars and you have the monitor attached to it, and you use that as the mace head. Oh! I can see it now. I like this. Can they also host a Nathan's hot dog competition and really spice it up? So, you know, I've talked in the past about wanting to do that.
Everywhere and everyone's in despair. That's when you arrive with your genius business, the poop dailyGEEGA.
Might actually open one. We'll see. Here's the thing. I've looked into doing a hot dog eating contest. I wanted to do one at a convention a long time ago and fully looked into it. And the biggest issue, they were just like, what do we do when someone chokes? And I was like, well, you have them sign a waiver to say, I understand that this is a choking hazard. And I understand that there will be EMTs on scene and everything. And they will do their best to help me if there's an issue, right? So that's what you do. You hire EMTs. This is what all of the food competitions do. MLE, Major League Eating, right? They have their guidelines on how you do this. And I was like, this is what we do. And even still, this was when I was in VShojo, the staff were like, I don't know if we could do that. We're afraid of the liability. And I was like, so we get it sanctioned by MLE. We follow their rules. You know, and we do it. We just do it. And they were like, but what if... I looked into the proper legal channels because, you know, eating contests are done constantly at state fairs and things all the time. You just have local EMS be nearby so that if someone starts choking, they can instantly go, boom, Heimlich, right? Done. You're usually good. And they even have the tools. So if they try to do normal Heimlich maneuver on you and it doesn't work, they've got that like pump where they just go whoop and just like suck out the food out of your esophagus. It's kind of a nasty looking tool, but it's like a tube and a turkey baster looking thing, and they just go like vacuum it out of you, you know? Like they have their methods. They know how this stuff works. They know the drill. But I've looked into this. I really want to do this. The problem is I don't know about doing that on a cruise ship. I think that's a little it's a little scary. Yeah, the life vac. Yeah. I always forget about the life vac. That thing's pretty fucking awesome. It just goes over your mouth and you just push down and then pull. Creates a little vacuum and it just sucks the food out of you. Ugh. Yeah, too far from hospitals, exactly. But I feel like at a convention it should be totally fine. Totally fine. I think I want to do it. It's like pulling a noodle out of your mouth, but hot dog size. Oh, you ever do that? You ever do that? I used to do that to my mother to make her upset because, you know, I was a really good kid, so I needed something. And my toxic trait was I would take one long bit of spaghetti and put it in my mouth and fully swallow the bit of spaghetti, but I'd hold the end and then pull it back out in front of her. And I go, look, Mom, it's in my esophagus. And she'd be like, ugh. She would not let me do it after that, but every now and then I'd just do it. Yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay. Not good. I don't do it anymore. I've, you know, really changed. Really gotten better. My brother liked to snort noodles and pull it out from his mouth. Oh. I don't like that. Nah. Was that brother influence or a Geega original? I don't remember. I know we all did it. Could have been them. Could have been me. Could have been my dad. I don't know. Yeah, don't put stuff in your sinuses though. Yeah, you do get infected super easily. Don't do the like, oh, I can eat food through my nose thing. Oh, did you see? Oh my God. So I don't watch TV. But I watch Wubby. And Wubby likes to react to my strange addiction. Okay? All right? A bit ago, I pop in. I'm like, let's see what good old Wub is up to, you know? Let's go say hi to my bestie Wub. Click on the stream. As soon as I click in, okay, now I see, before this, I see the thumbnail. The thumbnail has a lady. She's holding one nostril closed, like she's about to snort something, right? She's holding one nostril closed. And in the other hand, she's got a straw that's in a drink, and she's got it in her nose. And that's what the thumbnail is. That's the frame. And I'm like, oh, I bet he's watching my strange addiction. So I opened the stream, and the woman was addicted to eating food through her nose. She snorts all of her food. And I was like, what? How do you get addicted to that? I understand when something makes you feel good. Or like, you know, there's something about it that's great for you. That just seems awful. Sounds like an OCD compulsion. Yeah, it's got to be something like there's unwellness mixed in a little more than with others that are addicted to other things. You know what I mean? Because I feel like it doesn't feel good. That feels like shit, right? So she would blend all of her food and snort it. And she was like, I've never been sick. She went to her a normal doctor who was talking to her about it. And she was like, I've never been sick. And he was like, yeah, I'm really surprised that you haven't had, you know, a severe infection and died by now. And like, she wasn't believing anyone when everyone around her was like, yo, this shit's bad. You could die from this. She was like, that's crazy. I've never even been sick from this. And then she goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, I'm really surprised you're not dead. And he didn't say you could run into an issue. He was like, you are going to die from this eventually. Straight up. Bro was like, you're going to get an infection from this that will kill you. Because it's going to be like a lung infection. And it'll be super difficult to treat. And it'll be really easy for the infection to spread because you've got all these food particles in you, in your lungs. You know, and it's just going to spread so fast and it's very likely to kill you. And she was like, she came out of the room and she's like, I can't believe, I can't believe it. She was like she was listening to him, but she wasn't listening to him, right? Hearing, but not listening. It was crazy. And she started trying to eat food. She was like, occasionally I relapse. On what? Snorting food and it feels like shit? Like what? Ugh. Oh my God. It was so, gotta be one of the worst episodes I've seen by far. One of the worst. So weird. Yeah, who does he think he is, a doctor? Telling me I could die from this? What does he know? Huh? What does he know?
I bet she does well at eating contests.
Wait. What if she did go to an eating? No, the thing is you have to eat the food as is. You can't like bring a blender for the assist, you know? That was the problem. She had to blend her food. Crazy. It's better than the lady who was addicted to eating raw meat and was coexisting with Ebola. Yeah, oh my God. She might have been same episode or a couple weeks before, like similar time though. I saw that one too. Thanks to stream, of course. I saw that one too, and bro was just like, yeah, I eat tons of raw meat and I just can't eat cooked meat. It's disgusting and I've never had an issue. And then she goes to the doctor and they do like, you know, stool sample and they check her esophagus, they check everything and they're like, yeah, you've got Ebola. It's been living in you this whole time and it's going to slowly eat away at you and you'll probably die if you don't, you know, change. And she was like, yeah, parasites. Dude. I don't get how these things start. I don't get how these things start. I understand. I'm understanding of some of it because I am diagnosed with OCD. I myself have it. Okay. I've talked about this before, but the stuff that I do is not like I couldn't imagine myself. There are other things I can imagine myself like getting tripped up on and like, you know, starting to like feel compelled to do X, Y, Z. But most of it not really that I see on this show. Like the eating related stuff. I don't know. I have some tendencies like I don't like to mix all my foods on the plate very much. I prefer to eat them separately. And you know how some people will like, you have a plate with like 3 things on it, they'll eat a little bit of this and then a little bit of that. They'll go like A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. I tend to do like all of A, all of B, all of C. Like I don't care if the food's touch. I'm not going to be like, oh my God, you know, whatever. It's not something that I'm like addicted to doing. Because if I just consciously go, I'm going to go A, B, C today, I could just do it, right? But like I notice that I have a strong tendency to want to do that, to like eat all of that one thing first, then all of the next thing, right? Right, like all the fries before the burger instead of like going back and forth. I'll be more likely to do that. So I can see how maybe it starts as like a little thing like that for these people and then it turns into something deeper for them. But I just can't imagine like some of these people start crashing out. They eat like something mixed with something else and they start freaking out. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe I just ate that. And I'm like, you gotta be a certain deep level of unwell to really like get like that, you know. It sucks. But then the ones where they're like, I eat sand, that's the stuff I'm like, I don't know where that comes from. I don't know where that starts. I eat sand. You know, like it's one thing if you're like, I eat things a certain order and I can't mix these things together or whatever, but if you're straight up like, I snort my food, I'm like, I don't know where the hell that comes from, dude. That's just kind of crazy. Yummy. Isn't eating burger first, then fries pretty normal? Yeah, but like, OCD is more like, I can't possibly do it another way, because if I do, something's wrong with it. it won't taste the same, or it won't feel right, or sometimes there are certain levels of delusional, and they're like, if I don't eat this thing first, then I'm going to throw up, right? Their brain just convinces them of some shit that's not going to happen, but they just can't help but like focus on, oh my God, what if, right? So that stuff I get when it's baked into like normal eating, but yeah, I eat sand. I don't understand it. I don't know where that comes from, man. I don't know. I'm John Normal and I don't freak out if my routine is broken. Same. I've got some friends that can't handle their routine being shifted. And I never know what to say to them other than suck it up. So I try to be nice. But I don't know. Like, I got some friends with streaming especially, where if I ask them to do a thing, you want to do this with me, you want to do that with me, you know, whatever, and it's something that they'll have to change up their schedule for a little bit. They'll just be like, I can't do it. And when I ask why, it's one thing if they just say like, I just like to stick to my schedule for my audience or whatever, fine. But some people are like, no, I could not ever do this. It feels so wrong, blah, blah, blah. And the way they talk about it sometimes, I start to think like, this feels like OCD to me when they talk about it a little bit. It could also be general anxiety disorder, right? There are other things that it could be. But either way, it's like a real anxiety cycle that can be a little crazy. A little crazy. Comfort. Yeah. OCD is it's that like worry into comfort cycle. It's just, you just do a thing. You worry about something and then you do something to fix it or make yourself feel better about it, to counteract it, you know, whatever it is. You do that and you just do that over and over to the point where you can't stop. Now, every time you think about the thing, you have to do this other thing or you won't feel all right. That kind of stuff. That's all it is. Know what I mean? Do you think OCD helps in some aspects of life? No. No, I think it's nothing but negative. I got really tired of a lot of media showing it as like, oh, you know, like Monk is a good example. I liked the show, but still, they were like, oh, he has OCD and he's so detail oriented, and because of this, he sees so many things other people don't notice, and you know, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's a superpower. Yeah, OCD genius detectives, right? That stuff really really bothered me. But I thought the show was good. Like Monk, the show was still good, you know. But yeah, a lot of people would be like, it's a superpower and you can use it for good. You can't really control it like that most of the time, you know? Like, it's not like that. But yeah, Monk was a better representation because yes, they did show him like struggling against it constantly, and I was like, thank you, because that's what it is. And it was more about a story of him overcoming it, you know, not him being like, I'm gonna use my OCD to be the best, whatever, you know. It did lean into some misconceptions, it did, but it wasn't the worst. So it's like when people think autism is a superpower. No, it's ruined my life. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the person. There are definitely positives, but and I think the intent is good, that people are trying to teach people who do have autism about it in a way that isn't wholly negative. There's a lot of good intent there, but it is a disability. It is a disability, and you shouldn't teach like kids that have it as they're getting older that it's not a disability. Right? It is a disability that you could find ways to also harness and work with more than some others. And that's great, for sure. You know? Yeah, trying to see the positive in the negative is good, but you can't try to see the positive in the negative and then pretend the negative's not there too. Because then you're not teaching kids to like realistically work with themselves, you know? I have a lot of friends that have varying types of and degrees of autism. And many of them have complained about it. They've complained about that because a lot of my friends, there's a big spectrum, lol, slash J. But there's a big spectrum of them that were raised, you know, earlier and later. So some of them that were raised well before anyone said shit like that. Oh, it's a superpower. Like they were raised in the, you know, go with the quote unquote normal kids and be normal. And that's how they were raised. And you just had to adapt. And then I have other friends that are a little younger and they were kind of raised during that, oh, it's a superpower kind of era. It depends on their environment too. And I've seen how they all kind of interpret it. And I just, yeah, I think that that wording of it can be really bad for them sometimes. It can. It can. I think it's still, though, rooted in good intent where they're trying to teach you, like, you're not awful because you have this thing and you're not completely incapable because you have this thing, right? And there are ways you can use it positively, right? Some people have things where, Omega, they give you the 2222, very specific. Thank you. I appreciate it. But there are things like, you know, if you're one of those people who remembers dates perfectly, remembers certain numbers perfectly, surely there's a way you can use that in your daily life to do better. Surely there's a job where that comes in handy. Depending on your just level of ability, maybe you could be a project manager and you could just remember all of the dates and times for everything that everyone agreed upon. You're basically a walking calendar. When you're note-taking during a meeting, you're able to recall stuff very well, right? Like there are places for people who have these sorts of things going on that could be really good too. So it's good to talk about that, but you can't be like, this means you're perfect and nothing could ever go wrong, you know? Like, that doesn't help them, you know? Reality of autism is that there's a lot of help and learning that's needed to help kids and adults to manage it and be aware of limits and triggers. It can be very debilitating if you aren't careful. Yeah, like I've got one friend where sounds get her. Most people wouldn't even clock her as autistic unless she gets on like certain topics, but for the most part, they wouldn't even clock her just walking around and talking to people. But occasionally, like certain sounds will happen and she'll stand there and she'll just look down and start looking uncomfortable and she'll start like shifting back and forth. Not like pacing, but you like swaying back and forth a little bit and like start like curling her hands up a little. And if that happens, I'm like, oh, she heard something that's really like thrown her. It's just thrown her off. Is the best way to describe it. And I just gotta be like, all right, look at me. Let's talk about something, you know? I'll ask her, I'll be like, is the sound still there? No? Okay, that's good. And she'll be there and she'll be like, I'm just sitting, all I can think about is when it's gonna happen again. I think the sound is gonna happen again. You know, like she just gets in this zone, right? And I'm like, oh. But, you know, she just sits there and learns to regulate that and do what she can to, you know, keep herself from like crashing out when this thing is happening, right? But if she was taught like this is your superpower, nothing's wrong, she might not get to that point.
Autistic because I seemed normal, but when I put in my 2 weeks notice, they said, "Is this because I said you aren't autistic? Please don't leave.
What?
You're the most autistic person I know."
They said that to you? That's crazy. That's crazy, dude. Also, like, aren't you diagnosed? Can't you literally be like, well, I guess it depends if you are or not, but can't you be like, doctor's note? Slap that shit on the table, right? Doctor's note. Assuming you've gotten through the proper process and everything, right? Man. Our TTS really low today. So the TTS are tied to the same slider as like my game audio and stuff. And it's not the easiest for me to necessarily separate that out cleanly. I could, but it gets a little weird with balancing stuff. So I leave it on there because that's the easiest. So sometimes when I play a game and I have to lower the slider on OBS for it, the TTS also gets pushed down just a little bit. Just a little. That is just how it is. With the way my audio setup is, that's the best way for me to do it. But yeah, I don't know. Here's my autism certificate. Yeah, like, I mean, people don't really like carry shit around. I don't carry something on me that's like, I have OCD, here's a paper, you know? No, I don't use Wavelink. Actually, I saw that they released that for everyone though, which is kind of nice. Kind of good. Wavelink was always good and you used to have to buy one of their like microphones or their little their competitor, what do they call it? It's the Wave something, the competitor to the Go XLR for your audio stuff. They used to have to buy the physical stuff to then use it, but now they just have it so you can use the software. Wave XLR, yeah. The software is good. I'm not on it currently, but I was thinking about it eventually. Don't they have IDs there? In my country have IDs for disabilities? Not necessarily. It depends on what you have, but for the most part, no. Not for mental disabilities. It's usually just physical. And even then, usually not. Or it's not necessarily a full ID. But yeah, they don't. I fear that if they said like, oh, you now have to get an ID relating to your mental disability, I think some people would be like, that's cool because now I have a way to just validate this to people. And then some people would be like, I don't like the idea that you're forcing me to have to get a card that says this. Because I think it's like you're like branding yourself a little bit, you know, and some people might not like it. So I don't think they want to touch that. Yeah, and HIPAA's there, and I think it would be more cause for people to be like, let's say you had to provide that ID every time you had to provide any other type of ID. Like every time you get a job, you have to be like, here's my autism license. You know how many people would get rejected for jobs because of that? If maybe like it wouldn't even get clocked, noticed, or be a problem otherwise, you know? I would say probably a lot of that would go pretty bad. So there are, if it's optional, I think that's fine. If it's optional and you don't have to provide it, that's cool. But if they make it like a standardized thing and you had to provide it every time, no. No. Not good. And genuinely, a lot of my friends that have varying degrees of autism, people do not know. Oh, this person's just a quirky person, or sometimes they literally have no clue. They do not clock it at all, you know? So I don't think those people who have gotten to that point should have to, like, then put it forward if they don't want to. You know what I mean? Like, me personally, I have OCD, right? That's all I've got. It doesn't affect my day-to-day with people. It affects me in my head. But no one sees it, really. I think you'd literally have to live with me to see it. You'd have to be around me constantly to notice me doing a few things. Like, some things I just absolutely refuse, can't get myself to do that are just normal-ass things here and there. You know, like, you'd have to see that kind of stuff to watch it manifest. But other than that, no one knows that I have it unless I tell them. Genuinely. So I would never want to have to go to a workplace and be like, here's my OCD license, by the way, I have this and I'm like required to tell you. Like, what? Because it would never affect them. You know? Never. So I personally would not want that. Because I know I talk about it on stream. I don't tell people in real life all the time, oh yeah, I have this, I have this, I have this. I don't. You know? Hey, I just got out of a meeting. OCD license? No. Yeah, I'm saying I don't watch shit like that. But yeah, I don't put it front and center. So, no thanks, man. Because again, like you wouldn't notice it. I have a low degree of it. Nowadays, it's you know, I'm very regulated. I've never been on medication for it. This is just me working on shit, and you know, it doesn't really cause me problems. So I wouldn't want to have to. I would feel like even though I wasn't literally undoing that, I would feel like I was undoing that. You know what I mean? Have you heard about the NL cruise? Yes, and I will be involved, and that's all I can say right now, but I will be involved. So you should go. Yes. Yes. Anyway, okay, it looks like we're going to reschedule our collab, so that means I can keep my dome. Keeping my dome. Changing title. I want to try the new stuff. I'm so fucking excited. And then we have a game later called Gunboat God that I want to play. So we're gonna do where will your rage go? Into my fucking dome, dude. Off the dome. Guns and boats, what's not to like? Yeah, it's that one's for later, but it's gonna be a fun one. Bippin' bits. Alright, let's turn off our BGM. Enable online services. Oh, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. I want to do single player for now. Because I need to learn the new characters. I need to learn them.